Hi, it's Gab with a review from the 2011 Toronto International Film Festival. The great thing about film festivals is you get to see some films that may not hit the mainstream, but if you've heard about them and you get that chance to experience a sort of left of the middle film such as this. This is Shame that I'm reviewing, starring Michael Fassbender, who's on the cusp of becoming a big star, and rightly so. Very handsome, very talented, very magnetic, played Magneto, of course, in the latest X-Men film, and he really commands this film, which is a character study and as the central character, but he really holds sway over you in this very interesting, somewhat mesmerizing film and story about a man who has quite a slick, controlled lifestyle. He's a bachelor in New York, very sleek apartment, seemingly successful job that's not clear what it is, but he's got his shit together, so to speak. Very pristine appearance and everything in its place, monochromatic, looking good, except for the fact that he's what you would call, I suppose, a sex addict. Can't get through the day without a random hookup, masturbating at work, accessing porn extremely frequently in great amounts, much more than the average person would need, I guess you could say. So this is something that it both fuels his life, but is obviously degrading his life under the surface, is wearing away. And of course there's the consideration of, is he using sex to try to reach out and have a connection with someone, with the world, and or is it used as a shield to keep him distanced from connections with other people? That's not answered, nor does it need to be. That's part of what makes the character in the story so interesting. But obviously there's dysfunction there that he's dealing with or not dealing with. And obviously there's dysfunction in his background when his younger sister shows up. And that's Carey Mulligan, another up-and-coming, as they say, very talented young actress who is sort of the yin to his yang, just as dysfunctional, but whereas he's crisp and clean, she is a bit of a mess. She's wonky, she's aimless, she has to crash on his couch, she's attempted suicide in the past, and yet you can really see in her the overt yearning to connect with him. And there is a certain brotherly, sisterly connection that's evident and very interesting, and yet their dysfunction just gets in the way of it working out in a typical brotherly, sisterly fashion. And so there's obviously a background family dysfunction there, which again is never overtly explained, and which again makes things more interesting, if not more oblique. You care about the characters and what's going on, although what's going on doesn't follow any typical dramatic arc of any sort. So between the script and the directing, you're always a bit off center, and so you don't necessarily get those satisfying beats that you would in a more typical dramatic plot line. There's some very seedy, uncomfortable scenes because of his particular dysfunction. So I would warn y'all. I'm glad I didn't see it with Dad, let's put it that way. And yet you're just riveted by Michael Fassbender's performance. He's magnetic. You really want to know what's going on behind those eyes of his, and just to see what happens to this character, and yet you don't get typical payoffs, as I say, with this story. So you have to let that be what it is. It's the nature of the character in the story that the audience is held at arm's length, and so that may not appeal to everyone, and you may find that unsatisfying. I can accept that for what it is, and yet I was left slightly unsatisfied to the point where I can't rave about this film, and even though it was performed and directed very refreshingly and was just really interesting and thought-provoking. So I was toying with 4 Gabs, but I think I have to go with 3 3/4. But I would recommend it if anything I've said sounds interesting to you. Seek out Shame. Thanks for watching.